We continue our reading in the Bushman's Guide, and today's reading is Can We Know? The boarding house mentioned in the preceding article was kept by an old lady who had been a Christian for many years. She was a widow whose husband had died of cancer. During all their married life, they had served God together and had attended his house of worship faithfully. Their life had been by no means an easy one, and their money was earned by hard work. They had carefully saved all they could in order to live comfortably in their old age, but they were to be disappointed. The wife sat by her husband's bedside while his life was ebbing away. One day she said, "I want to ask you something, Jim. You know how we have had a hard life and how we have struggled and scraped together to get enough to retire on. And now, just as we should be retiring and spending a few years in peace, God is calling you home. Do you think it has been worthwhile trusting in Jesus? If you had to go through life again and have all these troubles over again, do you think you would go through life without the Lord? Has it been really worthwhile?" The dying man's answer was one of those flashes of greatness that the world outside does not see. But the God who stands concealed within life's shadows does not fail to take note. He said, "If I had to go through life and endure 1,000 times as much trouble, I wouldn't dream of going without the Lord Jesus. He is more precious to me now than he has ever been before. For I know whom I have believed, and am persuaded that he is able to keep that which I have committed against him against that day." The last sentence was written by the greatest missionary of the ages, the Apostle Paul. He was writing from prison and had already spent about half of his life since his conversion in Roman prisons. He had been through almost incredible sufferings in his labors to spread the gospel. He had been flogged, stoned, beaten with rods, and subjected to persecution again and again. In his travels he had been in dangers of many kinds. 3 times he had been shipwrecked. He had been among robbers, traitors, and people who were trying to take his life by any possible means. It is a wonder that, at this time, he was alive at all. Surely, if any man would be justified in sinking into despair, it would be Paul. All this and much more was behind him, and just ahead was execution. He wrote, "I am now ready to be offered, and the time of my departure is at hand. I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith. Henceforth there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, shall give me at that day, and not to me only, but unto all them also that love his appearing." 2 Timothy chapter 4, verses 6 through 8. Yes, it had been a fight indeed, but it was a good fight. There were no doubts or disappointments such as there must be for those who struggle only for what they can get for themselves. And through all the struggles of life, one friend had stood by him and helped and cheered his way. Paul had come to know him through all the experiences of the way, and now he was going to face him face to face. Right here, as he faced the last supreme test, there were no doubts, no fears, no worries. He had suffered rejection and persecution in this world as his master had suffered, but he said, "I am not ashamed, for I know whom I have believed, and am persuaded that he is able to keep that which I have committed unto him against that day." Like David, centuries before, Paul could say, "Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me." At death, money, popularity, power, friends, and loved ones all must be left behind. How terrible it is for the man who leaves everything behind and has nothing ahead, and no certainty at all as he faces that leap in the dark. But Paul had been walking with his heavenly friend all the way, and it was but another step with him into the Father's house. We too can come to know that friend and learn also to say, "I know whom I have believed." To God be the glory.